are you and what do you do?
hmm Before we start, like,
Yeah.
okay, so I'm just a little bit confused. Like,
Mhm.
where is this podcast being published?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
So it's
missed
going to
the
be
first part.
published on YouTube and the
Okay.
Creative UTL website, and that's
Okay.
really it for now. Going to expand it. Like the first one I'm going to do is probably Apple, right? But not right now. But yeah, at some point I'll apply to be on Apple as well, so
On
that it's just
Apple?
yeah, Apple
Oh,
Pay,
like on iTunes?
iTunes, yeah.
Oh, cool. Very cool.
Mhm.
And
Yeah, yeah.
is there a theme to the podcast? Like, is there
The team. When someone asked me this before, I said it's the team is like Seinfeld.
Seinfeld?
Yeah.
Why?
It's like, Seinfeld is about nothing, but
Uh,
it's about the people, right? But I do ask you art questions, but I found that every one of them is just like a completely different podcast. Like yours is just like completely different from every one of the ones that I did before now. Yeah, yeah.
okay.
Right, like, and they're like conversations, and that's kind of like
Mm.
what I want. It's like just conversations, and it's not trying to be like, oh, this guru will teach you the the meaning of life type thing. It's more like we're trying to figure it out ourselves, and we're being honest with ourselves, and just being people and talking about the
Mm.
things about nothing really. If you really think about it, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, true.
Hmm.
And then so how does the podcast like play into like the whole Creative Unicorn Toronto entity? Like what is
Uh,
its purpose?
Yeah, well, so it allows for advertisement to happen, and it allows
Mhm.
for relationships to be built with the artists. And in the long run, it allows for the YouTube channel to grow, right?
Mhm.
And that becomes like a source of revenue, right? Like so, instead of organizing a whole art show, we can do one
Mhm.
interview with an artist, and they get 1 million views, and that's more than any art show that
Mhm.
they can that they can never do. So, and then on top of that, it allows for sales of merchandise and everything on sales of merchandise, sales of art, sales of services for and royalties also, right? Like you get you get royalties from the videos that are published.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Did you study business? Is this your background is like business or?
yeah, yeah. I've been since young. I've been just working on business,
Mhm.
on projects, businesses. Like I had a clothing line when I was young. At some point,
Mm.
I was doing parties at clubs when I was in middle school.
Ah.
Like so like there's always been like a enterprising person in me that's going.
Mm.
And I think that my mistake before used to be that I'd leave the business, like if it's going got tough. But with Creative UTL, this is the first time where I understand the going has to be tough. And so I'm sticking with it as much as possible. Just trying to
Mm.
build something that is, like a community of artists, basically.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah.
And are you getting financially rewarded from it, or is it more just like a passion project?
At this, like, it rewards when I do good events, but it's not as rewarding as like it's not at the level yet. So it's like I gotta subsidize by doing like other, like, so I have Free Minds in Motion. But like Free Minds in Motion is my business development organization. And
Mm-hmm.
from there, I help businesses. So I help small businesses build from the foundation up. So kind of same services I provide for artists, I do that for startups as well. So that balances out things.
Mm.
Yeah.
Did you study like entrepreneurship and like how do you know
No,
about
you don't, right? Like you kind of learn. Yeah,
mm,
yeah. Like I've
hmm,
had mentors along the way,
mm,
right? Like I've had mentors. I was just thinking about Larry the other time, or just now today. I was thinking about Larry, who helped me with accounting, for example. So he had like an accounting class. He helped me with that. But I've also had like Andre and a whole bunch of people, and I also just experience. You learn, and then the other thing, the most important one is YouTube. I am always watching videos on YouTube, like that are directly affecting, like that directly help out with understanding things basically.
yeah,
Yeah,
you can learn anything through YouTube tutorials, I guess.
yeah, definitely. So that can be done there. Um, yeah, experience and just learning. Yeah, and just the will to do it. The will to do it is important. And then I like sales. I've been in sales like my whole life. In terms of like I get sales jobs, so it's helped me understand how to sell something. Uh,
Mm.
yeah. It's helped me, and then it helped me out. Now I can see it, right? Like so when you're selling. So like earlier you were talking about like you're a musician, you're a writer, right? Like so that's your sales pitch, right? And you cover music, and then they'll be like, oh wow, what kind of music do you cover? Right? Like that's the conversation that you always have a lot of time, and then it's just like, yeah, check out my YouTube, follow me, and you know, um, follow me, and then the next time you have a concert, they're gonna be like, wow, you're having a concert, let's go see her again, right? And then you build your way up that way.
Mm.
Hmm.
For the incubator, is it just yourself that like walks people through it, or you have a team?
Yeah, there's a team. I should mention that. So once we have the business outline, business outline ready,
Hmm.
you get sent to Salome, who will help you with advising you on business development. You
Hmm.
will also go to Bobby, who will help you with personal development, and also Vince. Vince will help you with like he does a workshop. I call it the art of negotiation. He calls it motivational interviewing,
Mm.
and it's basically it teaches you how to socialize. Really, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It's an amazing workshop, and it's like it's being able to recognize when to ask questions, when to offer information. What else is there?
Mm.
There are four of
Oh
them.
my gosh, these are things I've never even thought about.
Yeah. Well, but it's funny. Some of us are just natural at it and just
Mm.
do it. So you may have it and you're just not recognizing that you're.
Mm.
Yeah.
And I know I'm like asking you a lot of questions.
I know it's your interview, not mine. No worries. I like this because a lot of other artists will have these questions. So
Yeah,
you're doing a lot of people a favor right
right.
now. Hmm.
What's involved in like how much does it cost? Is there like a financial
Yeah.
side of it?
So it will be 45, starting at 45, and then it goes up after 2 months to 60.
So 45 per month.
Yeah. And then so weekly, we meet up every week on Friday, maybe. The class decides when the meetup is. So we will have an eventual, it starts off with an orientation class. And in that class, everybody will kind of decide collectively when the classes are.
Oh, so I thought it was one-on-one, but you're saying that there's like multiple artists in a class?
Yeah. And I don't mind sitting with you, being with you one on one and doing things like helping you out on an ongoing basis. But it is a class, and So what makes it cool is that when you're doing your outline and you're doing the sticky notes, you present that in front of the class.
Okay.
And in that moment, you have 20 other artists. They're giving you feedback instantly on whether something is working or not, right? And so,
And
mhm.
does this work in an online environment as well? Like,
Yeah, I would
I guess
think so, right? Because you would just show it on the screen. Hold on, let me see.
yeah. Yeah, I see them.
Yeah, can you see it? That's one way, but you can also show the screen. You can take a picture, and then put it on. But one way, I think what we'll do is we'll use Google Docs, and that way everybody can see it updating live for everyone. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. I hope it works out.
Do you
I've
have people right now in the class?
Yeah, there are people. No, because I haven't launched it. Like I've been soft launching it.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I'm hoping more artists sign up. Like I think you're like when you signed up, you're like one of the last person that signed up for our last campaign, and I
Yeah.
just put it up. Like I just put up the thing in the registration form when you signed up.
Oh.
Like I just finished putting that up there. Yeah. So even I think the pricing is wrong because we changed it from then. Mm-hmm. But yeah, if you're the only person, then it's only with yourself. Like I'll continue with only one person. But yeah, you can negate all of it also by just being part of the organizing team, and that way, then it becomes an exchange. It becomes a barter system where.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. When you're part of the incubator.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
An energy exchange.
Yeah. Is that what you said? Energy exchange?
Like an energy exchange.
Yeah. Energy exchange. That's what it is.
Yeah, I actually do that a lot. I did that with a yoga studio.
Mm-hmm.
I did that in California. I was working for a hotel and then I was staying with them. I
Yeah.
was living, I didn't have the cost of rent, but I was working for them. So
Nice.
and I got to live by the beach and it was beautiful. So
Beautiful.
I love doing energy exchanges.
Yeah. Dope. Yeah. No, that's how it works. That's how. Well, yeah, that's how it works. That's how it can work.
Mm-hmm.
Like we still gotta make money somehow.
Mm-hmm.
But by doing it this way, we risk making more. Like that's my one thing. That's my one complaint about the arts industry. It's like I'll meet other people who want to do art shows or something. They want to do something,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll be like, let's collaborate because it would then allow us to share resources and do more. But instead, it's like they'll go and do their own thing. And I've had that a lot happening. Like I've had people like they'll take like ideas, entire ideas, and just execute it on their own. And it's like it's heartbreaking. But yeah, like we could be collaborating. Like you do music, you need to be out there. I do art shows, and I need people to come to the show. And by doing an art show and people coming to the show, I make enough money to pay you. And pay you, and everybody eats. So artists, the art is sold. People see your music, hear your music, I should say, and it's just like an ecosystem. It's like a city of us working together. Yeah.
And how do you convert like the people that end up coming to the show online, I guess now, into like dollars? Like how
Yeah.
it's not like I can, if I invite my sister,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying, oh hey, Nicole, her name's Nicole. I'm not saying, hey Nicole, it's $10 cover
Yeah.
and it can be this awesome art show. It's like, no, you can just come on for free.
Yeah. we can do sales. We can do a sales so that they buy tickets and sign up for the event. That can be done. The problem, the problem with this is having to do this without looking like you're trying to take advantage of COVID or of the situation. So that's one way, right? Like, because then the artist, but then we would have to tie it to a charity, I think. You know, if we're doing it that way, like, so hey, we're raising funding for a charity. If you can pay $20 to be part of the show or to join the show, so that's one way. The other way is, excuse me, we can do Patreon. I don't know if you know about Patreon.
Yeah,
definitely. So we can do Patreon, which is similar, but then we're giving the person the option to just be at the show for free or pay a Patreon. And then through Patreon, we can at that point sell merchandise, right? Like, and we can sell. So like, if you pay $20, you get to be part of the show, but you also get a T-shirt. Or you also get a photo book if you pay $45. So that will be the way. And I'm thinking that something like that can only be done is if everybody is on the same page. And I think that that's been my weakness, is getting everybody to be on the same page in terms of artists. And a lot of it has to do is because I do need someone who is just specifically in charge of the artist. So that I can, because I'm always focused on sales, and sales takes up so much bandwidth, you know, and then, you know, you got to switch back to being like, you know, like the artist, like the onboarding process is such a, it's such a process, right? So someone would need to be part of that. And I think that a lot of times, like, I send a lot of messages, but I think that also calls, phone calls, and all that fun stuff are needed just to have conversation and stuff. So you want to be interviewed?
Yeah. Okay.
No, no worries. We can. It's just it's a back and forth conversation. You can ask questions. Like I had one interview that was 2 hours, and we went only in for 3 questions, about 4 questions. Should you still introduce yourself to the people listening?
Yeah, can I?
Are you, and what do you do?
Yeah, my name is Melanie, and I am a singer, songwriter. I play guitar. I love to sing. And yeah, I was born and raised in Toronto.
Nice. But like,
still living here, sort of on and off, seeking out other places as well, and scoping out their art scene, their music scene, and typically drawn to warmer weather.
Well, like, what are some of the like you said, you're scoping out other scenes. Like, what are you looking for in terms of other scenes or other?
Well, it's interesting because so I studied sociology. I went to school for I studied sociology for 4 years, and I became really interested in this idea of the way a society is built or run. We have a very specific model, which is capitalism. It promotes this sort of like individualistic mindset that everyone walks around and thinks, okay, how do I fend for myself, like financially, socially, spiritually. So I guess what happened was I realized that I was so buried in this system, like I was so in it, that it was hard to look beyond. But as soon as I looked beyond, I thought, oh, there's different ways, such as, you know, rather than capitalism, you have socialism, and you have like different systems. I socialism in particular is really appealing to me and really interesting to me. So basically, as soon as I got out of school, I was working a bit, but then I ended up traveling. And every time I travel, I sort of see how I can get involved in a socialist way.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'll do what we talked about, like energy exchanges. There's an awesome website called workaway.org.
Okay.
And basically, you have hosts and travelers. And the idea is to link up the host and the traveler. So the host can be anyone from anywhere in the world. And what they do is they advertise their project. So some of them have farms, some of them have homesteads,
Yeah.
some of them building earth ships or trying to start a community, trying to
Nice.
start a restaurant, and they need help. But they also really like the idea of giving someone from another part of the world an opportunity to travel.
Yeah, yeah.
So then someone like me comes on as a traveler and finds this host in British Columbia that has where did I say it was like white water rafting resort
Yeah,
center.
yeah, yeah.
And I thought, oh, that seems like a lot of fun. And they're like, yeah, we need help in our kitchen making Sunday brunch for our guests.
Yeah, yeah.
And in exchange, when you have time off, you can go whitewater rafting and that kind of. Okay,
That's
so I
dope.
did that for a few months. I met amazing people, and what happens is like, yeah, because I'm in these communities or resorts or hostels, like I start to live in a more socialist way.
Yeah, yeah.
When I was in BC, I also lived in an ashram that was, of course, also the socialist way of living. So we
Yeah,
all ate together and we all worked on the same projects together and we all discussed things and made decisions together as a family. And so I'm really attracted to, yeah, when you ask the question like what are you scoping out, like when I travel now, I really am looking for those sorts of communities and
yeah,
opportunities.
yeah, yeah.
um so yeah, I've been doing that for like the last 4 or 5 years now. And then
Nice.
I always end up making my way back to Toronto because it is home.
Yeah.
um, but yeah, I
Yeah,
am in
yeah, yeah, yeah. Well,
rural.
welcome back home. Like it's dope that you've been around and you just get to experience what it's like to be like in a community environment. Like, is there anything specific that has changed or that you've taken out of that? Like that experience?
Hmm. Yeah, a lot. Yeah, kind of makes me think like, okay, what do I want? It kind of makes me think of things in terms of kind of black or white.
Yeah,
Like, you want to live in a city,
yeah,
individualistic, capitalistic culture, or do you want to go, live in a community? And
yeah, yeah,
right now, it's an interesting point in my life because I found a really amazing group of people in Toronto
yeah, yeah,
are living in a house. They're, maybe we all have individual jobs, but we're living in community in the
yeah,
home.
yeah.
So like we make decisions together and we eat together sometimes, and it's like
Dopeness,
has
yeah.
aspects of that socialism. So it's interesting. I think now in my life I'm like maybe finding a balance and learning that that is possible.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, definitely. It's definitely possible. Like I think it's a mix of both that you have to do. Like because I guess well, I see people arguing pros and cons on both sides, and then I see people who are like vehemently either one or the other, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that we need to learn how. I don't even think why do we need to learn? It's so weird. Like it's just so common sense that you kind of have to use a bit of both. And it's a bit of both. Like, how long have you been doing your music for?
So that happened about maybe 5 or 6 years ago. I think it was in 2015.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, like 5 years ago.
Uh, uh, And you started with the ukulele.
Yeah, I actually was dating someone that was very musical, and he
Yeah,
kind of showed me that I was as well, and I
nice.
really had no idea. I
Ah,
just didn't grow up in a very artistic home in my
yeah,
family. Yeah, so he kind of introduced me to that, and then he actually purchased a ukulele for me as a gift, and
nice.
then yeah, and then I just started dropping everything else that I was doing just so I could just keep practicing and
Ah,
like
what were
getting
you doing? What were,
inspired and stuff. So
what were you doing before?
before that, I was in advertising.
Oh, no
Um,
way.
yeah, and then
Ah,
before advertising, I was working for a staffing firm downtown Toronto,
yeah, yeah,
one of those huge offices on Bay Street.
yeah, yeah.
I was actually like a receptionist for the office. So
Okay.
yeah, a lot of just computer work and stuff like that, and not creative.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So, and
yeah.
then before that, I was in university, and so it's kind of, yeah. I think I've really for the last few years like been really focused on just like learning the craft and like
Yeah,
the
yeah.
of music and other art forms as well. I love to paint and draw, and
Nice.
um, this time during COVID, it's actually proven to be really helpful for me because I don't feel pressure to like get a real job or
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
like I can't really do very much, so I can paint, I can draw, and it turns out like wow, okay, I love painting as much as I love singing and
Nice.
drawing, and there's a lot coming out of me like artistically, so it's been a really great time.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's
Like, and you've been drawing, have you been drawing, like, is that a recent thing or have you been doing this for a while?
the drawing, yeah, also recent. I've been singing and yeah, playing for like 5 years, but
Yeah, yeah.
drawing has come out maybe only in the last year.
Mm-hmm.
and,
Nice.
and then really like just a month, been like yeah, maybe a month or two that I've been like really doing it consistently,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
just with this whole
Dopeness.
COVID thing. Yeah.
Ah,
So
ah. So you're finding like kind of like you're calling, you're finding your the artistic version of you, and you're just like kind of expanding from there.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, and what I'm realizing is that I'm totally an artistic person and that I'm actually meant to be in this field of work,
yeah, yeah,
which is something that even when I was doing music, I wasn't taking it seriously, and I didn't really have that realization that, oh yeah, I actually am an artistic person that needs
yeah,
to
yeah.
do. So it's real this, yeah, I think so it's all really recent for me, so it's exciting.
Ah, ah. Well, dopeness. It's dope to see you on your journey, like on your journey up. And one thing I always liked is that your mom that comes to your events, to your shows?
Yeah, she came. Yeah, she usually comes. We're having like a bit of a rough patch right now.
Ah,
Um,
no, mom.
she, so she hasn't been involved. I mean, also with COVID, we haven't seen each other. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
regardless, but yeah, yeah, it's an interesting time,
yeah,
but I feel supported like in other ways too. So
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
No worries. Like it's yeah, it's one of those things. It goes, what goes down must come up. Is
yeah,
the saying around that.
mhm,
Eventually, like yeah, it's one of those things. Like, and I understand uh, that like the whole support system. The other thing, like, and I suppose because you're an artist and you're saying your family was like it's more like before it was more like a linear experience, right? Like so it's like there is might be like less of an understanding of that.
yeah,
But the good thing about this is that you're finding people who are like yourself, who
mhm,
have gone through this. Like I went through similar in terms of like I was doing one thing,
mhm,
like I was working for the bank, and I
mhm,
remember one time I just could not get out of bed anymore.
mm,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's like I had enough. I was just so done. Um, and like the artistic person in me was just going, and I find that this is a journey that is ongoing. Like, so you are discovering drawing now, you're discovering painting, and like right now your mind is still in its baby phase of creating, and then eventually you learn how to walk, and it's just like, you become this creative being of creation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's dopeness. That's dope. Yeah, and if you were in our advertising, then that helps you too, right? Like, because then you understand how to position yourself, I suppose.
You know what? That was a really interesting. It was only 1 year of my life, and
Oh no way, yeah.
I was like sleeping through that year because
Wake up, Neo.
I didn't learn. I mean, I probably learned a lot, but not a lot of it stuck.
Yeah.
I was distracted, to say the least.
No worries. I find one book. I find marketing is explained in one book. It's called The 21 Immutable Laws of Marketing. If you know those 21 laws, then you pretty much understand it, right? Like, so it will say things like, don't focus on too many things, and and then some chapters it talks about colors or logo, how to create your logo, things of that nature, which is dope. Like, it's the only one I really follow or try and follow. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
That would be a good. You'll have to email me that.
Yeah, definitely. Now the other question is, it's asking what are you known for, but I guess the better question would be, what do you want to be known for?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Because it's just a concept that I struggle with. Like being known, I've, on a personal note, I suppose I've been working with a therapist that has recently been telling me that I might be hiding because of like various things that happened in my life, trauma or this or that.
Yeah.
Basically, long story short, like I'm in this place now where, I'm like, I don't want to be seen. I don't want to be known for anything.
Yeah.
But then on the other hand, I'm like I said before, discovering all of these ways to express myself.
Yeah.
Discovering that I am an artist, many in like many senses of the word, and that's great. And I love what I do, but then there's that other piece, which is like, okay, you love doing what you're doing, but people might also love it as well. And how do you position that to, like, how do you serve them? Yeah, what do you want them to like know you as? Or it's a really tricky thing for me right now.
Yeah. Definitely. It can it looks tricky. It can be tricky. I think that your music is should I use the word transcending? Like, I listened to it again. Yeah, and it was just like, like, you should work on your music. Like, your music is, there's transcend, like, there's I use the do I use the word a lot? No. But there's a spiritual element. Like, there is so much emotion and so much deepness coming from, like, and you can tell from the passage that we just explained, from kind of like where it is coming from. Like, it is everything that you're going through as a person expressing itself, and just coming out there and stuff. Just don't go the Amy Winehouse way too much. Like, in terms, like, I don't know if you drink or not, but yeah, don't do that.
Oh, I see what you're saying. I thought you meant like, don't cover too many Amy Winehouse songs.
Yeah, cover her, but just don't drink too much. Yeah, it's like it's similar, right? Like Amy Winehouse, like when I listen to her music, like you can't just ever listen to Amy Winehouse. It's something you got to get ready for, right? Like, and it's because there's so much going into what she's singing that it digs deep within myself also, in terms of like what I'm, it digs deep within myself. It makes me think about things and of that level. And I find that your music, and I guess because you did the Amy Winehouse cover, but also your voice, right? Like it allowed for that. Like there was so much, there was imperfection in it, and that made it more relatable, more, like worthy of listening to it. So that's dope. Like, is there any songs that you find defines you, like that you do that defines you?
Any songs in
Yeah.
particular?
Yeah.
I would say my music, like the songs that I write, would probably define me most. Yeah.
Like,
in so many ways. Like obviously in the way that I'm writing it, like what I want to say comes from a place of like most of the time it's like I'll be journaling and it comes from like thoughts or challenges that I'm having like for myself, and then I'm like, okay, how do I, and I write it, and that's what helps me. I write it out, and then somehow there's a song that emerges in those writings. And it's always about sort of like self evolution, self improvement. And a lot of like the Seed song that I performed was like definitely came from a place of like solitude and like checking in with myself and saying like it's nothing's perfect, and don't put so much pressure on yourself to know, because what you're doing is you're growing, and like you've been planting seeds, and someday, with enough water and sunlight, like they'll grow, and you have so much in you. Like almost like advice to myself, like you have so much in you, and it's just a matter of time. Know?
So like self-talk, and like is that like a lot of the basis for your music and or whatever you write? Is it poetry, I should say, for your music? Yeah, let's say music.
Yeah, I would say, it's a lot of like advice for myself, it's like I'm like my own therapist or friend or whatever, like.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm learning that, I have to be kind to myself and be that person for myself, because you can't, always rely on others.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. That's important. Like the self, like it's so funny, like how it can just turn against you, and because it knows you, like, so you know yourself the best, so you know how to manipulate yourself into, like you can fall into a fall or whatever, like negative self, you know what I mean? Like a fight, like it becomes this fight, right? Like with yourself. And it's funny, I was talking about earlier, there is an artist who has been leaving messages basically about the battle with the self. And I think that one thing, like having gone through similar, like with the self, it's like you gotta kind of like learn how to love yourself, flaws and all. And so for myself, I needed to learn that, like it's, like, but first you gotta know yourself, so it's gonna take a lot of self-reflection, I guess, and being honest with yourself, like putting out the mirror and just being
Yeah.
honest with yourself about things. And
Mm-hmm.
and then like it becomes like about self-acceptance at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's hard. It can be hard, I should say,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like, cause this thing is an ongoing cycle. It never ends. Like, you come out of one box into a bigger box, and you know, so you just kind of but what becomes important is you learn how to process it. You learn how to recognize uh, when negativity is coming,
Mm-hmm.
and you at that point can choose to accept it or just choose to continue it.
Mm-hmm.
But I find a lot of times though that sometimes it's not even negativity, and like sometimes you gotta like entertain it regardless. And you know like sometimes, like, because like our knowledge isn't up to par, so like so because of that, like if we, for example, get fire, we wouldn't know what to do. It burns, right? Like, but when
Mm-hmm.
our knowledge becomes better, like we learn how to make food, and eventually we turn that into laser. And I
Mm-hmm.
find that that's a battle that we go through, but it's on a spiritual level,
Mm-hmm.
right? And it's on a mental level, mental plane. So that's what I found about that battle, or the going, or whatever you may be going through
Yeah.
with that. Yeah, yeah. Are
Absolutely.
you more like of a gathering person or a hunter?
Oh, that's a really good question. I'm not sure what you mean.
Yeah, I like this question.
Oh, oh. Well, the way I'm interpreting it is like, do I like go after, like, do I see what I want and I just go after it?
Hmm.
Or do I sort of create what I want using the things that I can already see and just
Wow,
gather
that's,
from
yeah.
what's already there versus like there's also like a tinge of like a theme of aggressiveness in hunting, and then in gathering
It
it's
can be, yeah,
or maybe not aggressive but like more active, and maybe
yeah,
gathering is like more passive.
yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, how would you describe it?
I find that you're both. Well, not you, but like you by nature have to be both, or maybe I'm both, because you gather. But what do you gather? What are you gathering? So it's like it can be like an ongoing conversation, but you gather, hunter. Okay, here it is. So by hunting, you can, and then you said that it can be aggressive. But how
Mm-hmm.
can you hunt in such a way that you're not going out there to hunt? And the best way to do that is by gathering.
Hmm.
All right, like, so, so set traps instead of, you know, yeah. So I guess I'm a gatherer. Like, yeah, I would be a gatherer. Then I just justified, like, just in case someone says you're a wuss. I'm like, no, no, I'm not.
uh, yeah, I don't know, it's a tough one for me. I don't know if I think definitely not a hunter. You don't even know if I'm a gatherer either.
Mm,
I think I'm currently hibernating.
hibernating in the middle. I'm choosing the middle.
Yeah, yeah. I'm just
Yeah,
taking a hiatus. I'm in hibernation mode. I'm
yeah, yeah.
sharpening my tools. I'm feeding myself with what I need, and yeah, expressing different things and finding gems in there, and then being
Mm.
like, okay, I think I know. Hopefully, by the end of my hibernation, I'll know what
I'll, I'll know if I should hibernate more or at least
or
gather.
start hunting. Yeah, or start hunting.
Hunting.
I
Yeah.
think yeah, right now I am definitely hunting for like searching for, I don't know, maybe like the magic band or community or
Oh, nice. Yeah.
yeah, because it's like because I'm still sort of blossoming and I'm still sort of new, it's easy for me to like say yes or no to things than it
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
do my own thing.
Mm-hmm.
So if I find like a person that wants to be in a duo, and I'm like, oh yeah, I really like, the
Yeah.
songs
Yeah. Yeah.
using. Those are songs that I would choose, and also your tone of voice sort of matches mine, and that would be great. And like
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
something that really excites me is like being able to have that relationship.
Yeah. 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 Like a creative relationship.
Yeah, and like vibe off each other. I don't know if it would be like a four-piece band or just a two people, like a
Yeah.
duo,
Yeah. Yeah.
but in any case, I'm definitely looking for something like that. Obviously, that has the right fit for me.
Dopeness. That sounds dope. I was thinking the other day of starting poetry too. So I don't know, but that sounds dope. Yeah, like if anything, at least the very least, the incubator itself, and
Hmm.
I think that if like basically what you said, it's like if we can find like the right ingredients of people, and we
Hmm.
can like at that point start to work together, and then like every week, yeah, we would work together. And like we would all have like different layers, right? Like so you want to create music, and so therefore my role would be okay, she's creating music, how do we package this so that it can go on, or how do we search package it for search engine optimization on YouTube and all that, so you don't have to worry about that aspect, you can just worry about being creative.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds really appealing
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, dopeness. And then you found your home, so you found a home that's like that. How do you even find it? Like, I guess it's like by
Where I'm living
accident.
now?
Like, yeah. Were they advertising? We're looking for artists, or
No, I knew one of them from the summer. We were volunteering together
yeah, yeah.
in Algonquin Park,
Oh,
and we just met and we became friends because we just had a lot in common. And
yeah.
so and then she told me about her house, and then turns
Nice,
out when I came back from California, they had a space. So
nice.
yeah.
That's a beautiful way of things working themselves out.
Mhm.
What is your creative process?
Um, I don't have one.
Mhm.
Wait until the inspiration like strikes. Um,
It
yeah,
just happens, like all of a
yeah,
sudden you have something.
yeah, and I think like, ooh, excuse me. Um, when I'm sitting, like sometimes I'll create an intention to sit with my guitar and just play and just improvise, and
Yeah,
then
yeah.
sometimes out of that can come a song.
Nice.
Yeah, and then otherwise, I'll just be like humming something in my head, or I'll be thinking about something I need to journal,
Yeah, yeah.
and then it comes out through there. So I guess different ways depending on my mood and the day.
Yeah. Yeah, it just comes, it just appears. Which is like a dope way. Like I guess you're gathering the info and then it just explodes after a while.
Yeah, yeah, it's really interesting you say that actually, because I was thinking the last couple days, I was reflecting on my childhood and my upbringing.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I was very like privileged to like grow up in like a sort of like a white middle class, neighborhood, like
Hmm.
sort of a suburb outside of Toronto.
Yeah.
Um, and what happened was we got really comfortable with like this kind of like the same old activities. Like we would like, I remember like just coming home from school and the TV would always be on.
Mm-hmm.
We would watch so much TV, so many movies,
Yeah, yeah.
and we didn't even really like play board games, or no one was like singing or drawing or playing sports or any of that. Like we were always just on the couch and we had
Yeah, yeah.
snacks all the time. It was okay, but and then when we wanted to go out, like we would go shopping, like we would go to the mall, or we would go like yeah, I think the odd time we would like go downtown to Toronto to see like a play or like a musical, something like that. But um,
Mm-hmm.
long story short, I felt, and especially going to school and like putting on that like critical lens of like sociology,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
realizing that it was a very consumption heavy upbringing and
Mm-hmm.
system. And so when I think about that lately, I think, oh, no wonder I need to sort of hibernate and take a break from, Facebook and all like
Yeah.
TV. I don't listen to the radio, anything like that. And I'm
Yeah.
just, I guess instead I'm drawing and I'm painting a lot more and I'm making a lot more music.
Nice. Yeah.
And I'm thinking, oh, like, of course, like my body needs to find a balance now because I consumed so much.
Yeah, yeah,
Now
yeah.
I need to like create more than I consume,
Nice. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I don't really know what I'm creating, but
Ah,
I I know that I love to create. So I'm
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
doing all of these things. And hopefully now I can be in like a refining process of like, okay, how do I sell these things? Or,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Dopeness. Like you told your origin story.
Yeah.
And this is the time I became Batman.
Yes. Pretty much. I am
Yeah.
Batwoman, I should say.
Ooh, Batwoman.
Batwoman.
Yeah, yeah. These days you can be either or.
Yeah,
Doesn't matter.
exactly.
Yeah. No, that's dope. Like, that's dope. It's like the spiritual calling happening. Like
Hmm.
all of a sudden you find yourself in this world, the physical world, and you wanna, like, yeah, it's a spiritual. The spiritual is the spiritual calling that you had, and I'm glad. I'm glad, like, cause if you listen to this podcast, like you're telling snippets, like it's not in order. You're telling snippets of your spiritual awakening, and like it's such a dope story, and like you went traveling, and you discovered music, you discovered art, and like, and it doesn't matter what you're creating, but you're creating, uh,
Hmm.
and yeah, like I guess like you'll find like your consistency, your consistent pattern and stuff. Like, do you when you're creating, do you listen to music, or is there like, eh, yeah, do you listen to music? Is there, yeah, let's keep it there. Do you listen to music?
You mean like, do I listen to a song when I'm
Yeah, yeah,
writing, or?
yeah, yeah. I guess you create your own music, or do you hum your own music, or
Yeah, like I often have like, yeah, ideas of the way something should sound, or the way I want it to sound. It's already there. And
yeah,
I read this book by Elizabeth Gilbert. It's called Big Magic.
okay,
And I don't know if you've read it. She talks about, it's for anyone that's creative, by the way. So it's,
nice, big magic.
yeah, she talks about like how inspiration like happens outside of us. So it's like
Yeah,
this little like magical insect that comes and bites you and like infuses you with this like idea or story or song or whatever.
yeah, yeah,
It's your responsibility to respond to that and like let that move through you.
yeah,
But
definitely.
time, she says, don't get attached to that because it's actually not you. It's this other thing that just so happened to come to you, which is great. But
Yeah,
it's not you, It's like just because you did it today doesn't mean you're gonna do it tomorrow. You know?
yeah,
So it all depends on when
It
when
just
that
feels
decides
like it.
to bite you, and when that decides to come to you. So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Definitely. No, definitely. The higher, it's like a higher spirit that just like all of a sudden you're in this trance, and then you have this thing on paper or wherever you create, and someone asks you, how the hell did you do that? And you're like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It just happened. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
I think like the best music and the best art is created like in a space of like no expectations and
Yeah.
no agenda, and just when people are jamming, like I assume like the Beatles, like probably more than half of the Beatles songs were written in that way. In fact, I think I remember watching like an interview
Yeah. Yeah.
with them where they said that they just, they just jam. Even Queen, I don't know if you saw that Queen movie.
No, I didn't see the movie, but
Oh,
I'm a
it's
huge
so
fan.
good. Yeah, they were all about playing and experimenting,
Yeah. Yeah.
like just taking like a bucket and like a spatula and like
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
maybe not that per se, but like they would just take random objects and like bang, and what if we did this, and what
Yeah.
if
Yeah. That
yeah
is dopeness.
yeah
That's dope. That's a dope way of creating. Like, I see what you mean when you're saying you're looking for that. Like when you're
yeah
explaining that, like, because that's how like when you're mentioning Queen, Bohemian Rhapsody is such a complex song that could have
yeah
only been created in that setting. Like it could
yeah
never have been someone that says, okay, we're gonna make a song where you start off this way and then you're gonna rock out here, or and then
yeah
you're gonna sing low here. No, none of that. It's just like you could only create that. And you know what's so beautiful is like I always think about Queen is like they have better songs that we haven't heard
mm-hmm.
that they did in those times and that we haven't heard, but they created it spontaneously, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and in terms of music, we obviously mentioned Amy Winehouse as one of your influences. Like,
Mm-hmm.
do you have other influences?
Yeah, I actually both my mother and I are huge fans of Sara Bareilles.
Sara Bareilles.
Yeah, she is kind of in the same camp as like Ingrid Michaelson.
Okay.
Sort of, I think she was kind of resistant to this, but she was placed in like this pop music box.
Uh,
Um, Even though her sound isn't typically, it doesn't sound super popular. It doesn't sound like it
mhm.
follows this like, this like predetermined, structure. Like it, and her voice is very soulful.
Yeah, yeah.
Not like bubblegum pop sounding. It's like more alternative sounding.
Hmm.
So I really still, enjoy listening to her. And
Nice,
she influenced, I think like one of the first songs I learned on the guitar was one of her songs.
nice. And how do you spell her last name?
Barelles.
B-A-R. Yeah, yes. I completely butchered it here. Huh. But I will find it. I would play it here, but YouTube's copyright machine is just gonna flag us so hard. But yeah, that sounds like dope music. Like if you had to make a album, right? Like what would be your first album? What would be the name of that?
Oh gosh, I don't know. Then
Huh?
maybe like Butterfly, or like something that's like an emerging sort of.
Yeah, yeah,
It never stops like moving. It never stops emerging.
yeah,
Something
yeah, yeah. Something
Butterfly.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah, emergence. I don't know.
Emergence.
Yeah,
Emergence.
yeah, coming
Emerging
in.
butterfly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or caterpillar. Caterpillar, caterfly.
Mm.
Yeah, you can just like put both words next to each other.
Mm.
That sounds dope. No, just a question. Maybe you're working on something. Is there, speaking of that, like, are you working on something? Like, is there anything that you're working on right now?
Right now, I'm just no, I'm still trying to figure out the whole recording process, and I'm looking at different mics. I'm using different mics,
Mm-hmm.
trying to see how I can get the best sound, and then the post process of like editing and putting on effect like EQ effects, and so it's like again, it's like a whole new world for me that I'm kind of tapping into. So right now I'm
Yeah.
like, should I keep going down this road, or should I like really just try and find people that can do this for me,
Mm-hmm.
that really like doing this kind of thing, and I can just kind of sing and do my thing, and then
Ah,
they
yeah,
can
yeah, yeah.
package it in a way that's like professional. So yeah, that's what I'm working on right now. I'm just kind of playing around and trying to really like define what I should be doing
Yeah, yeah.
in terms of like, yeah, releasing at least a single on Spotify. I think that's like definitely one of my goals, is to just have at
Nice.
least
Yeah.
an album. Yes, for sure, one day, but at least right now, in like the next year, a few months to a year, like I definitely want to release a single.
Nice.
Hmm.
Yeah. Well, work at it. Like, I'm looking forward to seeing what you come up with, in terms of a single. And who is your art for?
Mm. Right now it's for myself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then yeah, hopefully it'll be for like anyone that resonates with my journey,
Yeah.
my intentions of why I'm making it. Um I think like you said, like you could hear it in the music, like
Yeah.
it's kind of speaks for itself, and um in my voice and the imperfections, and
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, it's definitely for myself. And also, yeah, when I think about like improving, and um I do have a dream of like being in theater school, going back to school for like a musical theater kind of thing,
Yeah. Yeah.
and really improving my stage presence and my
Mm-hmm.
vocals.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, right now I'm just, excuse me.
Ah, you okay?
Yeah, so right now it's for me and my quest to sort of unleash these different ways of expressing,
Mm-hmm.
um, and really tapping into that and seeing like how how far can I go with this, you know, because at first it was like, oh, I learned a few chords on the ukulele, and then
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
I think I can play guitar, and like, oh, I think I can sing this other song that has a wider range, and oh,
Nice.
I can stand on a stage and perform for an audience. Oh, okay, so I keep like surpassing, I guess, like what I thought I was capable of, and I
Yeah.
thought what was my cap,
Nice.
my threshold, and now I'm
Yeah.
like, man, it's really, I think, about challenging myself and like proving to myself that there's so much in there that wants to create.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Definitely. Yeah. 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 Well, create for yourself, I suppose. And no, I don't know. I guess. Yeah. Like, I'm just thinking about that.
Mm-hmm.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. I guess you do. You kind of like do have to create for yourself. No, not even. Like, I think that it is the self. Like, it's you're. Yeah. Like, you kind of like you're challenging yourself, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
can you do this better than the one before that? And it doesn't matter. Well, does it? Well, you'll find out, but it doesn't necessarily matter whether it's about like the money or wealth or becoming more powerful. It's more about exploring and becoming better than the past self. Is that what your music is?
Yeah.
or
I
your
would
art?
yeah, I would say so for sure. Maybe not like becoming better, but like
Hmm.
becoming stronger and more confident.
Nice. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, like
Nice. Yeah. That's
yeah,
a
'cause
good way
we
of
all
repositioning it.
yeah, and like when I think about the voice, like I think we all have a voice. Like maybe it's not a singing voice,
Yeah,
but we all have something that we want to say or that like, an opinion or something that we want to sing or share or something. And it's like I'm really passionate about that cause of like allowing people to actually say or sing or shout the thing that they want
yeah.
to express. Because yeah, because I've always been in that place of like, I don't know, should I do this? Should I say? Like, I'm always like second guessing myself, and
Ah, ah.
it's like, well, no, like you feel something, put it out there.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
can't just make it automatic. Make it trust yourself. Make it like a
yeah, yeah.
impulse. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, definitely. So, yeah, definitely. Well, you'll find a team of people to work with eventually, and then that's gonna make that process much easier
Hmm.
for you because you can tell what they're vibing to and what they're not
Hmm.
vibing to. Or what I do, especially with my art, is I have like a small circle of people, and they might not necessarily know that they are this circle, but I'll let them, like, I always send something to them because they'll always tell, they have like their way of saying things, I suppose.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. And what is the hardest part of being an artist? What has been the hardest part so far?
Hmm. The hardest part.
Ah,
it kind of it kind of changes depending on what stage I'm at.
yeah, yeah,
So I remember maybe even like 2 years ago when I was first starting to like be on a stage.
yeah, yeah.
That was the hardest part, like performing. I was terrified. I hated doing it.
Oh, no way.
I hated people listening to me. Like I hated when like everyone was chattering and then everyone goes quiet and they say, "Okay, now we're gonna," and my heart
Would
starts
you guys all go quiet?
I'm like, don't go quiet. It's okay. Like, and then I remember I would shake and I wouldn't like be able to really sing because like my voice was like a little bit tight and
Yeah,
it just
yeah, yeah,
yeah, it was not pleasant. I felt really really awful on like performing. And then I slowly got more comfortable. When I was living in California recently, I was busking a lot. So I was
yeah.
performing on the street near the
Hmm.
beaches and everything. And it was one of the best experiences. It really
Yeah,
helped me. Yeah, like
yeah,
it really helped me with that challenge that I was having.
yeah, yeah,
You are anonymous on the street. Like not everyone's gonna just, listen to you. Like
yeah, yeah, yeah,
noise and there's things going on. So, but it's also a good kind of segue because yeah, there's distractions, but people still see you and people still hear you.
hmm,
Want to listen and stop, then they can.
yeah,
Um, and so yeah, I found it to be kind of like a good middle ground, kind of like training wheels for like performing on a stage with like
yeah, yeah.
hundreds of people kind of thing.
That's dopeness, and that's like the most humbling version of like having to perform, right? But I like it though. I like the fact that because I see sometimes musicians, like even like in the TTC, you'll walk by a musician and then you'll check their history, and they have like there's like established people, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, and for them to still do it, like I guess the experience that you must have had must have been like unlike any other.
Yeah. It really was
Yeah,
surreal. I thought it felt like I was in a dream when I first started doing it.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
yeah, yeah. And like, and you gotta go past the fear barrier. That's
Oh,
dope. Yeah, yeah,
yeah, especially when you're setting up and you're not singing anything yet. People just see you like
looking at you. Yeah,
why is this person taking up this space? What are they gonna do? Like,
Yeah,
it's like
yeah,
those like thoughts and those fears that people are judging you, and then yeah, I just start singing, and then it just goes away.
yeah,
Especially at
yeah,
this point, I'm way more comfortable because I did it like pretty much weekly when I was
yeah, yeah.
so yeah,
That is dopeness.
yeah, a lot of experience with that.
Yeah, yeah. That's dopeness. Would you ever do it here in Toronto or?
Yeah, I did it yesterday actually with a friend.
Okay.
So I've done it twice since I've been back home.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I live in the Junction, so there's a neat little spot where the farmers market happens,
Yeah, yeah.
and there's a stage, so we set up there and we sang a few songs. It's
Nice.
nice when the weather's warm too, and it's kind of hard now because yeah, it's COVID and people aren't like on the streets. Like you
Yeah.
have like one person walk by every minutes,
Yeah, yeah.
five,
Dopeness.
5 to 10 minutes or whatever. So,
Yeah.
but it's still fun.
And you still gotta do 100% of what you're doing in terms of performance at that point. Is
Mm.
get lose yourself in the moment, I suppose.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. Teach me something I don't know. Art. Yeah.
About what?
Uh, can be anything.
Oh, but I don't know what you
No,
know.
no. I know, right? Like that's the funny part about that question. But no, I find different people just teach different things, and I suppose it's kind of asking. It shows kind of like your personality. But that's dope though, like, cause in theory you have answered the question. Like if you're saying, "Well, I don't know what you don't know."
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Like so, it's like, wow, did you just break the Pandora's box? Did you like eliminate like the question forever from this list? No, no, that's dope. That's dope. Like I've never, yeah, like sometimes you gotta think them through. It's funny. One time I had a job interview, and it's a sales interview,
Mhm.
and they were like, "Sell me this pen," and
Mm.
um, and I think the first question I asked is, "Do you write?" Right? Like, and they weren't like expecting me to go there.
Yeah.
And do you write? What do you write about? And
Mm.
it's like by having that conversation, by asking questions and
Mm.
asking like it's like at this point you can't say no to not buying the pen because you already said that you write things down. Right, and then now you're
Mm.
talking about okay, yeah, I'm always on the go, so okay, so I have a pen here that will help you when you're on the go because it doesn't blow inside your pocket, right? Like so, it's like you've now designed the story around it. And they looked at my resume. They were like, "Where did you learn this?" Right? Because see, when someone says, "Sell me a pen," they start, "Oh, I have a pen and it writes and it's black," and it's like, but then the
Yeah,
person is like, what?
yeah, it's
Who
like,
are
why does this matter to
you?"
me?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So, it's critical thinking, I
Mhm.
suppose.
Yeah.
If you could tell your younger self anything, right? What would that be?
Oh. um,
Just thinking.
yeah, I don't know. That question's so interesting. My younger self. I get like I would say it's okay, just let go. I had a lot of like anxiety or tension as a kid,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
yeah, I would just say um,
Let it go.
I would say like don't try so hard. It was hard because I was bullied, and like
Ah, no way.
there's a lot of like, oh, they won't like me
Yeah, yeah.
if I show up in this way, so I have to show up in this way.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And it's like, no, it's like I wasn't even really being myself. I was just sort of trying to fit in,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
yeah, I would say if I was like my own parent to like my child self, I would say like what do you like what we were just asked or saying, like what do you not know that you want to know, or like what are you interested in, or
Mhm.
what do you like, or what do you want to know more about?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
um so I would yeah, I don't know if it would be advice, but it would be like got like more guidance. I would give that child guidance on like yeah, tapping into themselves.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And I
Mhm.
guess that's what's happening with you right now. Like you're going on this adventure,
Mhm.
and it's still going. Right? So yeah,
Mhm.
and you'll like evolve from here. Like it's interesting to see like yeah your evolution and
Mhm.
things like that. Like and I'm glad I was a part of it. So
Mhm.
yeah.
Aw.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, it's dope. It's such a humbling experience to see everyone. Like especially like firstly that just for you being part of any art show that I'm doing, but then also
Mhm.
like the evolution of the friendships that we're having, like
Mhm.
are is priceless. Like I also lose a lot of people, but you know, I have to start like I remember those because those are painful. But in terms of the people who keep revolving around, that's like a beautiful thing
Mhm.
that's happening.
Mhm.
If you had to pitch a project in the arts community, what would that project be?
Oh, that's a good question. Hmm. If I had to pitch a project,
Yeah, yeah.
um, some sort of like collective arts
Hmm.
therapy, maybe not therapy, but like a way, just a way, almost like a release. Like it wouldn't
Yeah,
be
yeah.
like something super polished. It would be like we have this collective, we have John, Jim, and Sally and Melanie, who like each have like, one is a painter, one is a songstress, one
Yeah, yeah.
is a dancer. And so on Mondays we're gonna have expressive dance, and then
Hmm.
on Wednesdays we're gonna have like songwriting,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then on Thursday we're gonna have painting, like free form painting or drawing.
Yeah, yeah.
So I like that. Yeah, I like that idea of having like multi potentialites in like one collective,
Hmm.
sort of informing each other and like
Yeah, yeah.
building off of each other.
Nice.
Mhm.
Nice. That's beautiful. Yeah, that's beautiful. That's like what we're looking for, and that is definitely what I'm looking to build. So you know, like just based on our earlier conversations, like I'm hoping that you know I will see you around more. In
Mhm.
terms of like we can you know like make that vision come to life, basically like being a collective of builders. The thing with that, like I found with that is, and I suppose that's why creative UTO is, but like to explain it in, I guess, in a smaller, faster way, the Tower of Babel, right?
The
Like
what? Sorry.
the Tower of Babel.
I
I don't know
haven't.
if you know. Okay, okay. So like they build a tower, like so. This is a biblical story. So they were building a tower during the biblical times,
Mhm.
and it fell. What happened? Yeah, I think it fell, or they lost their language. So along the way, they lost their language. They all started speaking different languages. That was like a punishment from the gods, saying that you are doing too much,
Mhm.
and so they lost their ability to speak. And because of that, or they lost their ability to speak one language, and they all started speaking differently. So the tower ended up falling. And so what? One thing I find, like a collective like that needs something, a system, a collaborative system that helps
Yeah.
us being able to create these things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I've been working on that. Like I'll send you an outline just now. Like so, but yeah, I've been working on something like that, similar, like that would help create something of that level. Help us create basically.
Cool.
Yeah. For the people
Mm-hmm.
that are listening right now, let them know where they can find your music.
Yeah, so I have a YouTube channel under the name Melanie Erin,
Mm-hmm.
and I have a SoundCloud account under
Yeah,
the
yeah.
same name, and that's it.
Nice.
For now, yeah, I'm started taking a break from social media, but
Okay.
who knows, in the future that might change. I'll keep you
Mm-hmm.
posted.
For sure. Yeah. Definitely. Definitely. Thank you so much for coming to the podcast, and I will keep you in the loop on things moving forward. And
Yeah.
especially when I start publishing it, at that point, I'll let you know what's up.
Okay.
Okay.
Awesome. Thank you, Michael.